Right now, on To The Point, celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month.
When I came here, I have a dream to make my group, teach my kids, teach my people.
How local Mexicans with indigenous roots are making sure Maine traditions live on. Go inside the largest oral historical archive about the Mexican-American civil rights movement. It's a prickly business why a local family is growing and preparing cactus that you can eat. Meet the Sacramento all-female mariachi band breaking stereotypes. And how one local artist is using the art of papier-mâché dolls to connect and heal. Thanks for joining us for a special edition of To The Point, celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. I'm Alex Bell, and over the next 30 minutes, we are sharing stories about local Hispanic and Latino cultures. And Hispanics impact our region significantly. 23% of Sacramento's region's population is Hispanic, and that number is expected to grow. In the population, there is a large number of Mexicans with indigenous roots. Many are preserving their culture through dance and music. As our Alicia Machado explains, passing these traditions on to new generations is vital.
With the blare of the brass band and beat of a drum, you're transported to Oaxaca, Mexico. The rhythms binding generations together through time. The storytellers, dancers, sharing their heritage and customs through movement and vibrant costumes. The traditions passed down and kept alive by Latinos who keep a piece of home while they grow new roots in the United States.
I'm from Santo Domingo, Tonalá, Oaxaca.
Yo soy de Santiago, Cuernavaca, Oaxaca.
Yo vengo de Pátzcuaro, Michoacán.
Ustedes, muchísimas gracias por venir a Oaxaca en Sacramento.
Vidal Beltrán Aguilera is a dance teacher on a mission to preserve and share his culture in Sacramento.
Aunque vivamos aquí en Estados Unidos, no debemos olvidar de dónde venimos.
In 2010, he started a dance group called Lacustre Michoacán de Ocampo, dedicated to carrying on traditional Mexican dances and celebrations. It brings together immigrants and locals looking for connection to their heritage. Something Vidal found was missing when he came to the United States from Michoacán, Mexico, nearly 20 years ago.
Muchas de las personas dejamos lo que es nuestra familia, dejamos lo que es nuestra niñez dentro de México. Entonces, lo que yo trato de hacer aquí en Estados Unidos es traer un poquito de lo que nosotros dejamos allá.
He started dancing at a young age, making costumes for dance competitions with help from his mother.
Mi mamá fue una de las que nos ayudó a coser día y noche, a hacer los vestuarios.
Costumes that represent Mexico's history. The country has one of the most diverse indigenous populations in Latin America. Oaxaca's native indigenous population makes up more than 30% of the state. Numerous ethnic groups from Mixtec to Zapotec carrying on their own unique traditions, showcased through dances still practiced today. Vidal and other Northern California dance groups purchase authentic dresses, jewelry, and costume pieces from Oaxaca to show respect to their culture. One Mexican dance style known for its costumes, La Danza de los Diablos, or Dance of the Devils.
Everybody has their own mask, their own style of what they depict what the devil looks like.
The masks made of wood adorned with animal horns. Dancers also wear chivaras, which are chaps made of leather and goat hair.
And we use the traditional chicote, which is the devil wood.
The crack of the chicote, an iconic part of the Dance of the Devils. Los Diablos de Santiago Huitlahuaca, based in Napa, California, carrying on the traditional dance style from the Mixteca region of Oaxaca.
Esta danza es para todos y es algo, me siento muy orgullosa porque lo que hacemos es algo que hacemos con mucha pasión, representando siempre lo que somos. Somos oaxaqueños, somos mexicanos.
¡Arriba, Oaxaca!
In Mexico, Oaxacans come together each summer for a festival called La Guelaguetza, also known as Los Lunes del Cerro, or Mondays on the Hill. The indigenous tradition is about sharing cultures through unique dances and customs from each of the 8 regions of Oaxaca. The festival originally had religious roots honoring the Aztec god of corn, but it has evolved over the years to symbolize reciprocity and strengthen the bond between Oaxaca's diverse regions, including the Central Valley.
Estoy ahorita portando es de los valles centrales y representa a las chinas oaxaqueñas.
Folk dancers representing Las Chinas Oaxaqueñas dance in vibrant skirts while balancing a basket on their heads. Alicia Martinez with Napa Valley-based dance group Ballet Folclórico Valle de Santa Elena says the dance represents the work of women in the community. Originally from Oaxaca, sharing these traditional dances is something close to her heart.
When I came here, I have a dream to make my group, teach my kids, teach my people how it feels being part of Oaxaca culture and roots.
Whether born in Oaxaca or in the United States, these traditional dances connect people across space and time.
Yo enseño lo que a mí me enseñaron mis antepasados, mis tíos, o lo que a mí me enseñaron en mi pueblo.
Northern California dance groups guiding even the youngest of dancers, the next wave of creative leaders who will continue to preserve these traditions.
We have family there and it just connects us there, so we want to keep the roots going to our future generations.
Vidal's dance group will perform at the Latino Center of Arts and Culture, El Panteón de Sacramento, in November, and it is an event celebrating the centuries-old tradition of Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead. So if you do want more information on these events, head to abc10.com. And history is all around us. The Sacramento State Library even houses the largest oral historical archive in the U.S. about the Mexican-American Civil Rights Movement. The collection holds more than 100 interviews about the lives of Chicanos and Chicanas in Sacramento and their fight for equality during the movement that started in 1965.
They are an American story. They talk about racism in the K through 12 system. They talk about not being able to speak Spanish in class, about being punished for speaking Spanish. I think it's really important for us to understand the generational issues that they faced.
Sacramento's role in the Chicano movement led to many victories, including a historic win for cannery workers in a discrimination lawsuit and the creation of a Sacramento State program serving students from migrant and farm working backgrounds. Next on this special edition of To The Point, paving a path for future soccer players, the talent that's in our own backyard. And you'll meet the all-female mariachi band from Sacramento, breaking stereotypes. But first, we want to introduce you to Maria Elena, sharing the challenges that she faced as an indigenous woman of Central and Southern Mexico.
Aninsu Matuhu Maria Elena. Hello, good day. My name is Maria Elena. I am descendant from Kashkan and Otomi people of Central Mexico, Aguascalientes for Kashkan, and Southern Mexico, Tlaxcala, Mexico for the Otomi side. The language I just greeted you in is Ñañú, also known as Otomi. When my great-grandparents came up from Mexico, they had to learn Spanish. They weren't allowed to use their own language, and then when my own grandparents were born here and raised in California, they were not allowed to speak Spanish at school. So it was really important for my dad to make sure that I spoke Spanish. However, growing up, I was excluded from a lot of Latino communities. That includes the Chicano community here in the United States. And then even just in organizing as an Indigenous woman, I find myself sometimes excluded in Native communities because my descendancy comes from across the border. We're all from this land. I can trace back my ancestors to the 2 continents that are connected, but I'm still told that I am less than when I show up in some spaces. During this month, as we celebrate Latino identity, whatever that means to you, to just remember to be expansive in that identity, because it might look one way to you, but that doesn't mean that the minority is not part of your majority.
Welcome back to a special edition of To The Point, celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. Soccer is the most popular sport in the world and has the unique ability to connect cultures and generations. There is a coach in our own backyard, not only training the next generation of professional players, but making a big difference in kids' lives. Oakland Roots head coach Noah Delgado created a path for kids to have their chance at playing professional soccer, like Kieran Bracken-Sarah, who recently played at the Oakland Roots rivalry game against Sacramento Republic FC.
A player like me, maybe if there wasn't a Project 510, I wouldn't have any opportunities, tryouts, or coaches looking at me from a professional team if I'm just playing at like a local club.
The Oakland Roots was created in 2018 and began signing players in 2019. Today, those efforts continue through Project 510, targeting young local players hoping to become professional soccer players. And you can find our full story on the Oakland Roots and Project 510 on abc10.com. Next, on To The Point, it's prickly business why a Stanislaus County family is growing and preparing cactus that you can eat. And you'll meet the all-female mariachi band from Sacramento, breaking stereotypes.
In Mexico, we have this culture of, is the male who brings the serenades to the ladies, is the man who is the provider. But times have changed.
Welcome back to a special edition of To The Point, celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. Historically, mariachi groups have featured women, but it continues to be a male-dominated industry. And that's why an all-female mariachi band from Sacramento is breaking down stereotypes and giving more women the opportunity to sing and play the music. Our John Bartel has this story tonight.
You know, I feel like I am home. Stage, and I will say always, stage is my home. It's where I feel the most comfortable, when I feel loved, when I feel the love for everything and everybody around. I feel like home.
Mariachi music dates back to the early 1800s, and back then, women listened, men performed.
In Mexico, we have this culture of, is the male who brings the serenades to the ladies, is the man who is the provider. But times have changed.
Back then, only men wore the colorful charro, or the Mexican bow tie, and only men shouted the party-starting grito. This is Mariachi Bonitas, Sacramento's all-female mariachi band, founded by singer-songwriter Donora Klingler.
My field started being in pop and rock and roll and all that stuff. When I was around 14 is when I started.
Donora's life is devoted to music. She can sing in 5 languages, and she can perform in just about every musical genre, from the flamenco to jazz and funk to cumbia. But it wasn't until she left her home in Mexico City that the sounds of the guitarrón, the violin, and the trumpet led her down a path of female mariachi.
I formed an all-female mariachi band in 1997 in Los Angeles, California, called Las Alondras.
As you can imagine, gaining respect in a centuries-old male-dominated music genre wasn't easy, especially when she tried to incorporate herself in other male bands.
Went to try to put myself into a mariachi band, and the guy, the mariachi owner, told me, I don't hire women.
As a musician, Donora would form or join many bands and move across the country over the years. That experience taught her that to make it in mariachi, she had to be both an entertainer and a businesswoman. So in 2014, she started the Mariachi Festival in Sacramento.
This year is 9 years. I've been producing this show, and I bring mariachis from all over the place, over the world, but I didn't have my own. I just produce it, I sing with them, but then, the pandemic came.
When the pandemic halted music events, Donora went back to her roots. She formed a mariachi band with her close friends and played in her neighborhood. That band became Mariachi Bonitas, and they quickly made a name for themselves.
Give it up for Dinora, Janessa, Audra, Jordan, and Samantha, Mariachi Bonitas!
In 2021, the band was invited to the Kelly Clarkson Show, which elevated their music careers and inspired them to move forward.
She said to me, I'll see you at the Grammys. And that was very inspiring. That's what it took for me to record our first album.
For over a century, men dominated mariachi. Dinora says she was never out to change the way that mariachi was played or performed. All she wanted was a spot on the stage for her and her bonitas.
With Grammy or not, we're gonna keep doing it because it's important for us to share what we have, and it's a lot of mariachi bonitas for a long time.
Reporting for Hispanic Heritage Month, I'm John Bartel.
Mariachi Bonitas released their first album earlier this year and has plans to tour and introduce their music to a larger audience. Dinora says that she also wants to start a mariachi school to encourage more women to play this traditional genre of music. And music and dance has always been a part of Hispanic and Latin cultures. Here in the U.S., the Latin dance scene is hotter than ever. Del Campo Dance Studio in Sacramento is providing a space for people to dance and connect over music. Owner Mike Del Campo says that's because it's a fun way to burn off stress and make some new friends.
It's an interesting thing when you go to a Latin nightclub. The whole premise is not to pick up people. It's about dancing. And so you'll see even couples, married couples, they'll go and they'll dance with each other throughout the night, but they also switch partners throughout the night. Partner dancing is a way to just connect with so many more people. I've got more friends now than I ever have before.
Plans are underway for a 3-day salsa and bachata festival in Sacramento next June. That gives you plenty of time to sharpen your skills so you can get out there and burn up the dance floor. So the details are on abc10.com/links. And of course, we can't talk about rich Latin and Hispanic cultures without talking about food. And a farming family in Stanislaus County is serving up something that many can't resist. Nopales, also known as cactus, is a staple in most Hispanic households. The spiny plant has been cultivated for food for over 9,000 years in Mexico, and it's flavorful, relatively inexpensive, and healthy for you. The only problem is it's hard to find in most U.S. grocery stores, but the Ruiz family in Oakdale is working to change that by making fresh nopales more accessible.
We're striving to educate people about nopales and so that they're able to try it and just give it a chance.
The Ruiz family farm is one of the largest edible cactus fields in California. It's a prickly business, and you can check out where they serve up this meal on our website. Next, on To The Point, the art of papier-mâché dolls in all shapes, colors, and sizes. But first, we want to introduce you to Francisco Castillo, who grew up in a Nicaraguan home and identifies as a gay Latino man.
My name is Francisco Castillo, and I am Nicaraguan. I moved to San Francisco, California back in 1985. So my family fled Nicaragua in the 80s, early 80s, because of the Sandinista Revolutionary War that was going on. The family that brings us together is key in my culture, in the Latino culture. And so growing up, the traditions were we got together almost every holiday for Christmas. I remember getting together at my grandparents' homes, and the dish that we eat every Christmas was nacatamales, which is a traditional Nicaraguan dish. On October 11th of 2020, during the pandemic, I came out as a gay Latino man, and that was challenging for me because in the Latino culture, family values are important, and I was afraid of rejection. I was afraid of being isolated. What I realized was that I was actually embraced by my community. Nicaragua is the second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, and so there's a lot of misconceptions with many Latin American countries in general. And one of them is, obviously, Nicaragua is not safe. Many regions in the country that may be the case, but it's a beautiful country for tourist attraction. There's a lot of rich cultural heritage that still obviously exists within the country.
Welcome back to a special edition of To The Point, celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. Preserving and connecting with one's heritage can be a challenge. For Ramona Garcia from Sacramento, she is using the art of papier-mâché dolls to connect and heal. Papier-mâché dolls became popular during the Mexican Revolution when families couldn't afford to buy children more expensive ceramic or plastic toys. These dolls come in all shapes, colors, and sizes and provide a different reference of beauty. Ramona says that a few artisans still make them, and you can find more on her website on abc10.com. And we want to thank you for sharing your stories with us. We always want to hear what's going on in your community, so make sure that you text us or shoot us an email at tothepoint@abc10.com. Have a great night. I'll see you later.